All right, guys, we're back at the restaurant here with Gary Hashman. I'm Butch Hiles, and we got Nate Hoover today. Talk about a little bit about really his origin story, where he comes from, and the cool things coming up, which I'm really excited to talk about. So, anyway, Nate, go ahead and introduce yourself if you don't care, and we'll jump into some stuff, man.
Well, my name's Nate Hoover. I feel like as we get going through the story, it'll kind of explain who I am.
Well, let me start this off too, because this will be actually kind of interesting in one way. Is Gary's a little unfamiliar, not because of bad reasons, because he lives in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So,
A couple states away.
yeah. But I think I told you before, I had kind of followed you in your gym for a long time just because you guys did a lot of really good stuff. So I was excited to meet you when we did meet, I guess it's been a year ago now. And so I think you guys got some really cool stuff going on with the jiu-jitsu world. I think your gym's awesome. You know, it's big and cool, and you've got like a lake and a giant slip and slide thing. Am I right about that? Yeah. Right. I've even sat and showed my wife things, and that's probably the last thing she wants to see is jiu-jitsu stuff. But it's like a good crossover because I'm like, look, they're swimming in a lake, and she's like, well, that's cool. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's kind of the neat thing, in my opinion, is because I do think there's two different things the way people run their gyms is one, there's just a gym, and that's great, and you're teaching people how to do jiu-jitsu, martial arts, whatever it is. And then there's gyms kind of like yours that's part of the community and it does something different. And obviously you do that, and that's what we're talking about it, and I think that's cool. So was that something that you did by design, or did it just kind of happen, if that makes sense?
I would say both. When I started, so I'll kind of go back to the beginning and then I'll work my way to it. So I think it'll make more sense. So get out of college. So I did high school and college at the same time. So it's like my educational background was fast.
How does one do high school and college at the same time? Because maybe I screwed up. Maybe I wasted some time here.
They started this college credit plus program is what it's called now. It was post-secondary whenever I did it. I had to take a placement test, and then it put me saying like, well, he's capable of doing this. And at that placement test, I guessed on a lot of stuff. So they're like, you're capable of doing a lot. I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't do that to me. So I started doing that in freshman year. So freshman year of high school, I also started freshman year at Shawnee State University. So it's our local university. So I get through all that. The goal throughout all of it, mom and dad were both practicing attorneys for the last 30 years. They have deep careers and all that. Mom sat on the Supreme Court of Ohio, so dad's done the murder trials. I mean, they've done both routes as far as you can take that career. Go back even further, we've been in the martial arts with like traditional Shotokan karate since I was 4 or 5 years old. So I think that's where the introduction into the martial arts kind of started from. I was involved with that from 5 to 15, and then I went into competitive bodybuilding from 15 to 19. And then during that stint, that's when I was doing all the education. So I graduate high school at 17, I graduate college at 18, get into law school then, and then start kind of prepping everything around that. So it was like I did my last bodybuilding show the summer before I left for law school. So doing that, so then while I'm getting ready to go to law school, I start studying brand building. So what does it mean to start a business? What is a business? What's the message you're trying to communicate? And how effectively can we accomplish that? At the same time, so I'm doing that from, say, 18 to 21, pretty heavy. So it's like during that same time that I'm getting ready to go to law school, and then when I'm getting the technical knowledge from law school. The law school thing reframed my perspective, and I kind of just filled in blanks for me. So I'm like, how does society operate? How does a community function? How do people work together? What are the rules? What governs people? What are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? So that kind of gave me like, okay, here's my lines of, here's what I can operate within. So then I learned my first year of law school that I really did not want to do that at all. I've been around that like my whole life, and I was like, this is the easy path forward, easy, but it's laid out in front of me. It's clear. So then I go through that, and first semester of law school, I'm like, okay, this is not what I want to do. So what in the world am I going to do? It filled me with all kinds of negative emotion. So I'm like, man, if I could get paid to fight people, that'd be fantastic, But no one in our area, like we have a completely dry area when it comes to jujitsu. So I never really had access to that part. We had a guy that trained up at Super Systems in Columbus for a little while I was like 13. So he came back and then he was showing us basics. So at 13, I knew all your positions. I knew a few submissions. I got the idea, but there was no art to it. You know what I mean? It was purely fundamental stuff. But it gave me an introduction. I was like, I like this. This is fun. Like, I'd love to do something with it, but we just never had that opportunity to do that. So it wasn't really a choice, And then I get through law school. So that first year, I'm like, man, I want to quit this. I was like, this sucks. And I was like, I don't quit things whenever I start them. So I'll finish it out, and when I finish it out, I'll make a decision on what I want to do next. So I get out of school. Come back home. So COVID sent us home in 2020. That put me back in isolation at home. So the property that we're located on with the gym, it's my grandfather's property. So we're back 2 miles into the woods. So it's off the beaten path of everything. You know what I mean? It's like, it's close enough that you are accessible to the community, but it's far enough that you're not immediately touched into it.
Yeah, well, I was gonna not to interrupt, but you had made a post recently that I thought was intriguing, where it was about that, right? Because I think that breaks every rule of starting a gym, kind of, right? Like they're like, you should probably be in a
High
strip
traffic.
mall.
Center of the people. Yeah, that way people are walking past. Window shoppers are gonna be like, what's going on in here? So yeah.
Yeah. So we get back from COVID, and we had the karate area set up, which it was just old school, I think 1.5-inch foam mats. Yeah, good, okay for stand up, but like you don't want to be thrown on it. So it's like we did a little bit of judo growing up, so I knew how to do that. When I got back, I started pursuing judo. I got up to a purple belt in that, because that was the only grappling form that I had access from like an instructor or something that could be like, hey, here's an avenue. I was like, it's not really what I want to do, but it's just what I got right now, so I'm doing that. So I get back, I start putting the gym back together. We had a lot of stuff going on in my family, and that is what kind of made me go back to that home, and that's to me what the gym represents. And that's what it was for me, and that's what I try to build into it for everybody that comes. And I think that's the thing that makes it a little different than, it's like every place tries to aim at that, but for me it's literally it's at my home. So it's like I live 100 yards from the gym, so it's like I'm there all the time. I'm thinking about it all the time. How can I be better? What can I do? How do I bring more people in so they get to enjoy this and get what I got from it when I needed it? So starting that, I had a cousin that also trained at Super Systems, but he was like a 1-stripe white belt. But he knew enough, and I was like, and I know how to learn, so that's where like the formal education kind of comes from. So I'm like, hey man, come down here and just show me what you know. Like I don't need you to be an expert. I was like, I just need to know something. So he came down. He spent a few months with me, and I just let him beat the hell out of me. Yeah, I'm like, submit me every way that you know how, so that way I can figure out, what is the goal that I'm trying to accomplish here? Like, what are the rules? What am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do? So that took probably 3 months of just like, this is terrible. I'm like, I love it. Yeah, so it's like, I'm just gonna do this. And then I had a friend reach out, and he's like, hey, I hear that you're doing something down at the gym. I'd love to come down. I'm like, well, man, I don't really know what I can give you, but like, if you want to come down, you can come down. That friend was like a 350-pound college linebacker. So I'm like, why is this the first human that's walking in here right now? I'm like,
It's a rough one.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know enough, but I'm like, that taught me how to survive. So it's like, all right, I got this partner that's just trying to crush me the entire time, but I know enough to hurt him. So I'm like, it's this back and forth. But it taught me like the essence of what jiu-jitsu is. It's not you forcing your will into something. It's moving around whatever the obstacle is. It's problem solving. It's adjustment. It's fluidity. And the faster you can get to that, you skip all the rigidity and pain associated with like what I would call false movement. You know what I mean? It's like when you're not doing the right things. So that kind of puts us right at that starting point. So if I can go whatever direction you want from there, but that kind of puts us where it's like, okay, that's where the gym's about to start.
Yeah. Gary?
So as far as like, parents going to law school, and so you finished law school, and you just kind of like felt like this isn't where I should be, or like, because how you're what 21 at the time?
21 at that point, yeah.
Okay, so 21, and were you thinking that it was going to be, because it's a martial art, were you thinking it was going to be an artistic endeavor for your life at that point, or did you just not know?
At that point, I think it was more a method of me dealing with emotional stuff that was going on.
Okay.
Like Dad had mental health struggles. He ended up having, a break, and he went through a bunch of trouble. Now he's a practicing lawyer for 30 years, so it's like, better. It's like, that's when you realize sometimes people can't help it.
Right.
Like mental health is real, and it's something that matters a lot. Now that looked different from my perspective than it did his. He took one path, and I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that. It's like I need to figure out how to take care of myself and, deal with this better. So the martial arts, that was that home base for me. So growing up, I'm like, well, this is what gave me stability at one point in my life. So I'm going to go explore this again and see if that's an answer. Because at that point, it's like we didn't have answers to anything, and every day was just like a new problem. That's like, well, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
And how are we going to handle this, and what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to get through it? And it's like, yeah, as long as you keep going.
Yeah.
So how are you getting, I guess go back to where we were talking about before, how are you getting people to the gym, since you do kind of have a challenge, right, where it's out and about? So is that more, what are you doing, I guess, is it an advertising thing, is it word of mouth thing, or is it just like, hey, people know me, they want to go? Is it,
So in the beginning, I took a really long form approach to it. So I didn't look at it like, wow, I really want to fill this place up and do as much as I can early on, because I knew that I didn't know everything I needed to know. So I'm like, I can't tell people that I do. That can't be the thing that I'm like, hey, everyone, look at all this experience I have. Look at all these accolades. Look at all this time. It's like I could do that with karate. It's like I've won world championships. I've traveled internationally. I've done all the accomplishments there are to do in that space. But it's not jiu-jitsu. And I learned that fast. I'm like, okay, everything, I control space from far. I'm like, how do you control space from close? I'm like, it's a separate problem. Same thing is what I've come to learn over the years of practicing, but it's a different way of accomplishing a goal. So early on, I'm like, I gotta just do this, and if people want to come participate in it, then they'll do it. And if we just stay consistent, then it'll turn into something. I don't know when or what or how, but it'll change. And it has to now. Now is like insane to me to look back and see everything we've done in the last several years and be like, wow. So like, my focus was, how do I help every person walking in the door the most that I can? And it's like, first question when they walk in, like, why are you here? What are you looking to get from this? And then,
No, that's awesome, because I think that's the other thing that's lost in gyms. Well, you would know, and Gary knows, like, how many people talk to us in general, and they'll say, like, it's like all for the wrong reasons. Like, I wish I had a gym, because then I'd be making money. Or like, my goal is to not work and have a gym. And like, that's going to be a rough go for you. Right? Especially at the beginning, regardless. I mean, it's not what people think it is, right? But I think it is what you would think it is if you go in for the right reasons, which is helping people. And that's your main priority, right? Like, which makes sense, really, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it really does have to be bigger than money. Because if it's money, it's
it's laughable. We're kind of not laughing as much as we should.
right.
Yeah.
So,
And there's certainly people who make money doing jujitsu or running a martial arts academy. But if it's not a bigger reason, it's going to be a real tough pull, you know.
and it's hard to last. Right?
And it's hard to last. I know. And really, it is the hardest thing is getting members in, and then after they come in, especially in jiu-jitsu, I think we have a huge turnover. So how do we keep them? You know, when somebody gets here, we've talked about this before, Butch, but I think people come to jiu-jitsu usually for 3 reasons, and now I'm talking about adults, not so much kids. Parents want their kids and stuff, and of course self-defense for that. But adults who usually come to jiu-jitsu are looking for one of 3 things. One, maybe to get into shape, right? I watch the UFC, I see some stuff, I want to get into shape. This seems like a fun way of exercising. The second one is they probably want to know a little bit about self-defense. So you get a lot of cops, paramedics, have jobs that they're out and about. I probably ought to know how to grapple if somebody grabs a hold of me. So it seems like a good path. And then the third one is self-confidence. And I think that's usually the people that we see come in who, you know, we talk about the nerd assassins and like the tiny guy. Like those are the guys who just want to feel comfortable in their own skin. And those are the 3 people. And we talk about the blue belts who leave. And I've thought about it. I used to get upset. A guy would come in and he would train with me for 3 years and then he's gone. And like, what happened to him?
Yeah.
We were friends and now I never see this guy anymore. And I started to think about it somewhere around brown belt. I started thinking about like, why are people leaving? And why is it always blue belt? After about 1.5 2 years of jiu-jitsu, you have a basic understanding of self-defense. And you've probably gotten into shape. And now you have confidence. So you came here for all the stuff that you was wanting when you started. So now do I need to stay here?
What now?
Yeah. And so it's like the beyond the 1.5 years, how do we keep people engaged? And the people who stay are the one who either find community, camaraderie. We're friends now. I don't want to be without Butch. I want to stay here and hang out with Butch. And I know I get to see him every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So I come 3 times a week to see Butch. Or you just fall in love with the sport or the art. And what are we doing wrong at 1.5 years that lets those people leave when we're building a gym? Because that's really what it boils down to.
So that's where that next component came in. So it took me a while to figure that out, but I think I had to set that foundation first of you gotta be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If people walk in and like everyone's just bad, then it's like meaningless. Because it's like, if I walk in and I can't fight, then it's like, well, what are we doing? You know? And then it's like, okay, at some point it got to the point where I'm like, okay, confidently everyone in here can fight. Like, we're good. So it's like, now what? You know, because it's like, and everyone looks around at each other like, we can all fight. You know, like we're good. So that's about that blue belt level to where you get that confidence. So then I'm like, all right, the community part of it. For me, it came with the kids. So I started, you know, those 2 over there. They're 2 of the kids that have started in the program, and now that one runs our kids program. So giving them an avenue of progression, giving them somewhere to go, someone to be, something to do. With that, you know, I found, how do I keep the kids entertained? So it's like, how do I make this an enjoyable thing outside of training? Because training's hard. So it's like, okay, you're going to do this hard thing, but at the end of it, here's a reward. You know, so it started with like dodgeball. And then it would evolve based on what they wanted to do. You know, so they're like, well, we want to climb. I'm like, all right, I'll buy a rope. You know, throw a rope over that, climb up that rope. And they're like, well, I want to go run. I'm like, there's a hill. I was like, let's go run outside. You know, so then it's like, we're in nature. So I'm like, okay, I grew up in the woods all the time. So I'm like, there is so much value in just going out, being alone in the quiet. You know, it's like, all right, we're going to go do these trail runs. So it's like, you're going to go spend 20 minutes up in the woods for a day. You know what I mean? One day out of the week, you're going to just go run through the woods and then come back in. We're going to start training. And then it would turn into, you know, well, let's host a birthday or let's do, you know, an event, because then the dojo starts really meaning something to the people in it. and it goes beyond just the art that we're practicing. It's like it's the people that you're with and the company that you keep that makes it what it is. So then, I've always wanted a pond. So it's like, we're gonna build a pond. It's
Yeah.
like, and then I meet Jimmy, which is the guy that has built that thing for us, and it turned into this thing, maybe the size of this room, to like 1 acre. So it's an acre pond, and it's like we built this thing in the middle of it that, the kids can swim out to. You can take kayaks, run underneath it, jump off of it, like put a rope swing in. But it builds this area for people that's more than, just the gym alone. It's like, okay, we love jujitsu, that's cool, but we love who we're with. That's great. Now, what's something else that everyone can do that's still a shared experience, that everyone gets the benefit from? As I've gone on, so again, yeah, it was like right about into that brown belt space. It's like, well, what can we do more than just that jujitsu? And the culture, you know what I mean? So the culture you build within that gym where people feel safe, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel cared about. Like those are the things that matter, I'd say, more than anything. And it's like the jiu-jitsu will come. That just comes from time. So it's like, how do we get the people to stay? How do we get them to spend that 10 years? How do we get them to do that and enjoy it along the way? Versus just, well, I've been here. Like, okay, what have you done?
Yeah.
It's like, that's that question.
Yeah.
What's the coolest thing you guys think that you have done? As a gym, I guess, as taking people, because you guys have taken a lot of trips, right? Done the ADCC across the country. Is there something that stands out like that, or even it doesn't even have to be jiu-jitsu? You guys do everything, right? So
Yeah, I'd say this last ADCC run's been the thing, because it started as, well, let's go do a tournament and see how we do. She did double gold, so I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. I was like, let's see what this is. So we keep pursuing that. Gabe starts training. We go up to the Arnold about that time, kids programs at like 10 kids, 2 of them are exceptional. It's like, all right, double gold. This is something. So let's do a state run. So I think we hit every Fuji in the tri-state for a year. They both got up to, it was like number 1 and number 2 ranked athletes in the state or something. It was something like that. We have it hanging in the gym. So I'm like, wow, that's an accomplishment. We've been gathering this time, experience, medals, going to all these tournaments, meeting all these people. So that was the first like run of confidence. Like, okay, I don't know for sure that I know what I'm doing, but it looks like it. And every time we'd go win and succeed, and really it's through them. So it's like for me, my accomplishment comes from helping other people. So that is what I find my value in. I don't find it in what have I done. So like, what have I done? That answer is, well, look at everyone around me. If I can point to everyone around me and show you their success, that means more to me than like anything. So we get done with this Fuji run, and it's like, okay, that's really cool. Tri-state area, sweet. So then I'm like, well, what's like the logical next step of what can happen? Like, okay, can't really look at a professional avenue until they're adults. If you want to pursue like mixed martial arts or something like that, or even professional grappling. I'm like, so then at that point, I also had no type of certification. So I'm like, the more I research, I'm like, I can't even access IBJJF. So I'm like, that's not even an avenue. And I'm like, at that point, there was no youth program through the ADCC. So, and then our area doesn't have the super fight platforms, so if you go to hubs like Texas, New York, LA, those places, it's like you have all these opportunities everywhere, but the populations are so much higher, access is higher. So I would call it luck. I don't know. It's like just the way that the sport's evolved. About that time, ADCC opens the U.S. Open in Orlando. So it's the first event where they allowed masters, kids, professionals, non-professional, like all amateurs. So it's just an open event. I'm like, we got to go do that. I'm like, it's the first one. It's like, let's see what's up. So fly down to Florida. So Gabe won gold. So he won, and that's when I'm like, okay, like we are good. You know, it's like this is the best platform that exists right now at the highest level of no-gi jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, okay, we're good. Sid got second and third, I think. So either way, we're hitting podium, you know, at these places, and it's like, wow, you know. But I'm like, Orlando's a heck of a trip, you know, to do that. It's easy to get up and drive 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Yeah, it's like I knocked that out, but it's like drive to Florida, like,
Yeah.
you know.
So
So
did you guys drive there?
yeah, so we drove that one,
It's what, 14 hours? Or?
14.
Yeah.
So drove there, drove back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. 14 hours, huh?
So then this past year we go through a run and we hit, I think Oregon, and then we went to Chicago, and then where else have we gone? We did the Louisville one. We did Vegas Nationals. All three of them competed. Gabe got third there. You know, that's the kid that just won trials. Then the kids in his division right now, I think it's worth mentioning. Like, they are competing in the adult black belt divisions. I was like, yeah. I was like, huh. I said, so these kids in his division, this 15 to 17 division, they're stepping up into the adult black belt divisions and winning them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's a kid. But then I watch them, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that's not a normal kid.
Yeah.
You
It's
know.
like the Rotolo brothers or those kind of kids, right?
Yeah, but now there's like a whole crop of them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Before it's like, okay, there's like 5 of them.
They all been training since they were 4, right?
Yeah, now there's 17.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, to say that's like anything short of like a black belt, like I don't know what's that supposed to represent if it's not that.
Just imagine learning at that point in your life where you're soaking in knowledge, and it's the developmental part of your life.
Yeah.
Like, I have such a hard time retaining information at this part of my life, right? Like, I could study to, you know, come home, and then if I don't keep doing it, I'm gonna just go back to what I used to do. It's just what my brain does, unfortunately. Which it's a bummer, but anyway, I'm jealous basically of those kids. What I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about it. You know, it's constantly growing. Jiu-jitsu is constantly growing. New techniques, new positional stuff, and we've already formulated our game. And it's hard to add that stuff when you've already formulated a game. If you're a kid, you get to
All the time.
everything
All the time.
and it's just there's more stuff to take from to put into your puzzle.
The only constant with the kids is change.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's what I've learned with them. It's like they're changing every day. You know, I'm literally watching them grow up in front of me, and I'm like, you know, I remember them coming in, you know, tiny, and now it's like I'm watching them go win across the nation. You know, beaten. You know, I'm like, this is nuts. You know, and I never forget that. You know, it's like as much as we do, I always just look back at what it was when it started. Yeah, and like that point, it was nothing. It was literally nothing. Yeah, and it's like we face so much criticism early on because it's like, well, who is that guy? What does he know? What is, you know, what makes him an authority? I'm like, I'm not trying to be. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not like, I'm just a guy doing this, and as it changes, I'll change. But then at some point, and it was, you know, about when those two came in, I'm like, I can't do anything for them, you know, in terms of like a promotion or something like, because adults, I'm like, it matters more that they're doing something than it does what they get from it, I think. But the kids, progression matters. You know, they want tangible growth that they can track, you know, whether it's something that is inherently meaningful or not. Like, you watch a kid light up when you give them a piece of tape on their belt, and you're just like, wow, that really meant something to you. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I have to do something for that. So that's what forced me down. All right, let's try to go official with this instead of just doing what we can and seeing what happens. So then that's a whole route. Yeah, and that's I think that's put us where we are right now. You know what I mean? At least for me and like where I'm at with everything, that's why I'm here. You know, and it's for them. It's for all these new people coming in. You know what I mean? It's like we're at the point now where that the core has been built, and now it's starting to branch out. You know, so it goes from like, okay, I can handle 30 kids, but it's like that's all my time. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, that's what I have to do. whenever I can start putting leadership in other places, so the years that I've spent doing this, it's been building leaders to put in place that can handle that. So now those 6 people can take 30 of their own. So then it takes this thing and it exponentially grows it into something further than what I'm capable of doing alone. And that's where I think that community component comes in. So we can talk about that as much as you want to.
Well, here, one last question before we get to the community, which I think is important, obviously. But I just want to know what it makes you feel like when somebody that you train, does well compared to what it feels like when you do well, right? And you kind of brushed upon that, but I think it's important for people to hear because unless you're in that position, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how, as coaches, all 3 of us are coaches, but I don't think people understand how the nerves that go through when we're watching people compete because we have no control over it, and we want them to do well. And then whether they do well or don't, right? Like, for example, yesterday, we had a tournament, and we had a lot of kids compete. I'm in a unique situation where I can't coach because I'm running the tournament, and obviously that would look terrible, But I still do, luckily the kids still come over and show me their medals, and that part's cool. But it's also the other end of it where maybe a kid's crying because they didn't do well, right? And so there's like an aspect of where you have to be a mentor and a coach and give somewhat good advice, hopefully really good advice. I'm not the best at it always. I'm like, good job, you do better next, whatever. I'm just joking, but and then also the elation of winning at the same event. So anyway, just talk us through how that means to you because I think that is important.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least that's the thing that matters the most to me. I think at least an element for me is that I've experienced success in other facets of life. So it's not that I have to seek that. It's not that I'm like, wow, my success matters and what I do is the thing that makes the difference. I don't think that's the thing. Again, it goes back to that. What can I do for other people? My value is found in what I can do for others. So when I'm able to train them to a point where I get to watch them succeed with that knowledge, that's the feed. And we've had kids come through that no matter what you do for them, they are what they are. And you can do everything in the world and give them everything that you can, and they're just going to be what they are. But then you have others that are sponges, and you give to them and they'll just take in as much as they can get. And when you get to watch them use everything that you give and then transform it into something more than what they may have been to begin with, it shows. To me, it gave me confidence in what we're doing is right. What we're doing matters. It's it's right.
Purpose. It's got purpose.
It's purpose. Yeah. And I think when I started the gym, I was searching for that. I'm like, okay, this whole thing that I've pursued my life towards, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, well, what in the world do I do? And that's what kind of pushed me into the gym space because it was that for me for a long time. And then I changed it to, different things as life went on. But then I got back to that point. I'm like, oh man, I need something. And then starting the gym, and it was really the kids that gave me that. You know what I mean? It was like the adults matter a lot. They're what run it, they run the core of the program, but the kids are what give you the soul. They are what fills that room with energy. And they're the future of everything we do. So it's like the more you can give into them, I look at it as like, okay, the more I can invest in these children, 10 years down the line, or 5 years down the line, 20 years down the line, it's like that's where you're going to get the impact. The stronger you can build them, the stronger you build a future for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as far as seeing people that I've trained compete, and just like Butch was saying, I would all the times I've competed. There's I've fight to wins and I've done big matches, and I still way more nervous.
Yeah.
Setting mat side at a WVGO or a Fuji than any match that I ever competed. So, and it is fear that I'm not.
I can't control it.
I can't. Well, not only can't I can't control it, but not has my student done enough. but have I done enough? I think that's the biggest fear. Did I put everything into place for them to succeed, or did I fail them somewhere? You know, and that's my worry. Is like, man, it was a buggy choke, and we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't prepare for
we
that.
didn't go over the buggy choke, and it was a skill that I didn't give them. You know, it's stuff like that that is. I'm not looking at their flaws. I'm looking at my flaws as a coach, or you know, and so that's the hard thing. And then when it is successful, it feels good. Everybody wants to feel good, but I'm happy for them. We was talking about this on the drive up. The competition for me, I wanted to do it to test myself, right? And I hope that everybody wants to try and push themselves to do something that's hard. But I did a lot of yelling yesterday. My throat is a little sore. I was loud at the competition. But competition was about testing myself. But I was never happy when it was over. I was relieved.
Yeah.
It's done. I could get the exhale. It was nice to be done with it. I didn't have to worry about, you know, the
nerves.
the
of what could
nerves,
happen.
or what can happen. And if I won, that was great. But if I lost, okay, well now I've got something to learn. But I was just thankful it was over. That tenfold when I'm
Yes.
watching my
Yes.
students.
Yes.
Because it's like the nerves are so much more elevated, and the emotions are so much more elevated, because I hope I didn't leave anything on the table for them that they could have had. So for me, watching my students compete, that's nerve wracking. Yeah. There's no controller. I can't hit the X button.
Yeah.
I can't button mash. It's not Mortal Kombat.
No, but it's like a good point though. Just being prepared, right? It takes nerves away, right? Because you know, I think it's one of the most important things, and it's one of the things that's overlooked with everybody, really. Like if you want to be less nervous at something,
Work harder.
Work harder.
Yeah.
Right? Say less, work harder, right? But speaking of that, then I guess gets us the next community part. Like, so how are you getting prepared for your next step? I guess in your life and what you're going to do with the community, because that's you've taken something and built something over the years, you know, and it's grown, and now it looks like you're ready to take a big step, right? Not just a small one. Not that any of those were small. This one seems pretty monumental compared to the others, right? So,
Yeah, so that's, I guess, where the next big thing comes in. So I've decided to run for county commissioner. So county commissioner, and you know, it's outside of just the gym thing. It's like the gym's not the only platform. It's just the most active platform that I have. The family's career in the field of law, and it's like I'll still do stuff every now and then. I'll help out at the office with whatever they need, but in terms of spending my time there, it's not where my primary target is. That's what I would call like half of the authority.
may I ask something random before that? How does your family feel about that? Is that
Which part?
just that you're at the gym mostly and not doing kind of what they do?
They are happy that I'm choosing to do something that I enjoy.
They really happy? Because I would say that to my kids even if I wasn't happy.
Mom, they want me in there. They want me in there, and they're like, please do this. Yeah, and I'm like, I know, and I guess my theory has been over the years is like, okay, while I have an active, capable body, I want to pursue this until I can't. Like at some point you can't. So I'm like, at that point, then I will use my brain. You know, it's like I can sit in a chair and do what I need to do.
You guys are probably good communicators. We're lawyers, I would assume, right? Where the rest of us would just probably do whatever, and that's why everybody's. Because like, I don't know why you're doing this, but you probably communicate things just like you said. And then with your answer just now, if I was your parent, I'd be like, okay, sounds great.
Cool.
Figure it out.
Yeah, where I feel like I ask my kids, I'm like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I just want. That's kind of what they would say. So.
Yeah. Like I think my reasoning has filled in. I mean, it started purely as just something I enjoy doing. So it was like, oh, this is easy, and it's just like a hobby. And then now it's evolved into something that is as full time as you want to let it be. You know, as much time as you want to put in there, you could spend all day, every day, and just turn it into, you know, an accumulation of everything you want. But it's like, is that the most efficient thing to do? You know, it's like, is that where I'm going to get the most out of this, or should I go do other things? You know, I think I've been able to kind of step out of it to different spaces because of spending the time that I've spent building the people within that space. That's allowed me to come out to do more, and it's like I'm always going to do everything I can with whatever I'm doing, but it allows me to pursue a different direction that I think can change a lateral move. So it's not just space within the gym. I'm like, how do we grow the community? It's like if we can grow the community, then it makes more space for the gym. It makes more space for places like this to exist. And it shows the importance of what that is.
And that's kind of, I was going to ask that, is like,
Yeah.
what were you seeing to run for county commissioner? What were you seeing in the county that you wanted to, was there something that, not just necessarily, hey, we need to make more spaces like this in our area, but was there anything else that you're seeing in the community that you wanted, hey, this needs changed, or this is something that needs addressed?
So, yeah, we had the current seat that I'm running for. The person that was in it is currently under indictment for embezzlement and other things. Public trust in our area is down. Accountability is down. Responsibility is down. What I would call work ethic is down. I've met with some of these other public officials, and I hear them talk about, it's really nice having a job where I don't have to work that hard. And I'm like, oh, that's the last thing I want to hear. I'm like, I don't like that at all, because I am a work person. And I don't like that. And I am a person that if you want to see change, then do something about it. It's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'll just do it. It's like, what do I need to do? I'm going to do that. I'll just start taking steps towards it right now. And then, in 6 months, it could look completely different. But if I just talk, well, I'd like to do that. I wish it was different. I would have done this. Well, what'd you do? Nothing? Well, then keep your opinion to yourself. That's what it's worth. So I think seeing that motivated me, because I do believe I can make a difference. Outside of my formal education, like that alone puts me ahead of any other candidate, I believe. Like, then, okay, I'm integrated into the community in a meaningful way that touches a lot of lives from a lot of different places. It's not a niche. It's not, I only service West Portsmouth. It's like, no, we service Scioto County, anyone within the county. And, it's like we have people coming from Kentucky. We have people coming from about an hour, so I mean, whatever our hour radius is, that's about what we're doing. So it's like, that's a lot bigger than, just one simple place. You know what I mean? So I think that gives me, it gives me a point of confidence. And I know that I can build something. I know that I can be accountable. I know I can be responsible. And I think all that comes from the martial arts.
The discipline.
Yeah. And the unique thing about jiu-jitsu is that it is real, and you cannot fake anything to do with it. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't say like, oh, I'm good at that. Like, are you?
Yeah, well,
I can't sell people on
the
like
mats,
the idea.
The mats have truth in them.
They do.
Yeah, there's no lying out there. And oftentimes it's like, you get out there and you see the belts, but the belts don't tell the story.
No, they don't.
There's plenty of purple belts that just waylay me.
Yeah.
And make me feel like maybe I don't deserve my black belt, but
yeah.
It's all the truth is out there. It's just you have to go experience it. And that it's also the thing that I love about jiu-jitsu is like I don't get to lie.
Yeah.
Like if it's good, it's good. If I get tapped, I get tapped.
Yeah.
And then I just have to own it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's
No,
good. It's good
that's
to
accountability.
lose. Yeah. It's good to lose. It's good to have accountability and own. I have to look at myself. It's a good mirror.
It is.
It's a good mirror to see this is who I am, and this is where I lack.
Yeah.
And people won't tell you that necessarily about your demeanor if you talk to people.
If you're just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have a choice to listen. Yeah.
So I think that element is what, if I could bring anything into like a public office, you know what I mean? I'm like, how do I translate this to the public where I'm not able to get a hold of them?
So do you think that that's something that's lacking in the community as far as like the office of county commissioner, accountability? Like, is that something that you feel like you could bring to it?
Yeah, definitely. I I don't, and not to say everyone in the space of public office is that. I've just met
There's enough out
there's
there.
enough. There's enough that it would make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Well, I know as a community member, that's what I really want in my leadership is it's nice to hear I'm going to do good things.
Yeah.
And every politician is saying I'm going to do good things. But I want results. It should be a results-based
Very
position.
much, yeah.
And as much as it is a social position, and a lot of
Yeah.
it happens socially, it's who you know, how do you
Building
how do you
relationships.
build relationships, your social network helps.
Yeah.
But it really does come down to this is what I wanted to do in the community, and this is what I got done.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, what I got done doesn't get talked about, or sometimes it's what I didn't get done.
Something that I've got to hear from the community by doing this, it's more so they are paying attention to my actions more than my words. And
Yeah.
I think that's like so important. You know, I'm like, I can tell you anything I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything if I don't follow through and do it. You know, so it's like I'd rather point at look at everything I've done until now. Let that be your judge of my character. If you have a question, ask me. You know, and it's like I'll be as honest as I possibly can be. You know, and if you're not satisfied, ask again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Were you hearing anything in the community that like what is the community saying that they want changed, or are you hearing anything that they want changed?
I'd say a lot. A lot of it too. So a lot of the stuff I'm getting right now, it's like say roads are an example. County commissioner doesn't deal with the roads directly. I don't even think we have influence over. Like you have influence over it, but you don't directly make the decision that leads to a change in the roads. It's like county engineer. So it's like, but I can work with that county engineer to figure out what's the problem. You know what I mean? Like there has to be a problem here. If I can help you solve it, I don't care whether I'm the one doing it or you're the one doing it. It just needs done. You know, so it's like take me to the person and achieving or accomplishing or getting whatever you want to call it, like the title. You know, that gives you access to make the relationships that you need to make change. You know, if I'm just a random person going in, they're not going to listen to me. They're not going to even. They're like, oh, you don't like the roads either. Me neither. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'm the county commissioner going in and trying to accomplish a goal of fixing something, you have more weight behind it. You know, so what you're saying and doing is essentially more meaningful. You know, practically, whether that's the truth, I don't know, but I hope to find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's one thing that I know that I can say when I go in. I will work every day to try to accomplish whatever the goal is in front of me. You know, and however it's going to look. Yeah.
That's a good follow-up, too. Can you tell us what a county commissioner does have control over, or what all the facets of the job are?
Yeah, so generally, they're going to allocate and control budgeting within the county. So it's like you're working with all the essential offices, say within the courthouse, auditor, treasurer, recorder, within the sphere of county engineer. So it's like, but again, that goes more into the township. So it's like, how does every little piece work together to the center? So the way I conceptualize the position is the center of the county. You know, I'm like, and essentially it's like relations. So it's like I'm constantly building and navigating relationships with all these different people and offices from top down. You know, so it's like whatever that looks like is. And and you just trace that till you find where it needs to go, and then work backwards from there. You know, you'll find a solution somewhere. So I would call primary purpose budgeting and call it relationship navigation. You know, that's how I would say that. Like right now, we're in this energy boom that's about to happen. So these,
topic, right?
yeah. So it's like these places are about to get put into our community. You know, and our local community, there's a lot of opposition around it because you're about to interrupt their home. You know, it's like where they live and their peace. So they're about to get that taken from them. And they're like, I don't want to deal with this. And it's like, I know, and it is something to consider, but a project of that magnitude is going to happen whether, yeah.
Yeah, is the main pushback the charge, like that it's going to run up people's energy bills, electric bills, right?
Resources,
But-
so it's
Is there opportunity for more job? Like, what is the trade-off for those? Because like, as you said, that's a hot button topic, but I don't even know if people know what they're arguing for sometimes, right? Other than I
that
don't
are
want to pay
arguing
more money.
against.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like they may think they know, and they may
Yeah.
think they know what for, but and I'm not fully. I don't see what AI is going to change in the next 10 years. I think that's something that no one has an answer to. So when they're like, well, why are we doing all this? Why are we investing hundreds of billions of dollars into this? There's a reason. There's a reason why those guys, the owners of these companies, are like, we need to put $500 billion into this power plant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Into this thing. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. So I'm like, there has to be some crazy big picture thing down the road. I don't think anyone's clear on what exactly that is right now. So
That's the scary part.
yeah, and it's like, well, that's where we start as the communities to try to navigate that the best that we can to maximize our resources. So it's like, okay, let's take it as a conclusion that that's coming. So how do we make the best of it? How do we manage it? How do we account for this? So that way we're not just like, wow, that wrecked us, and I wish I would have done something.
Yeah.
And I've found, even with the tournaments and stuff like that, it's okay. Whatever your result is okay, as long as you've put in all the work that you possibly could have until the point of whatever that decision is being made. So I feel like if we've addressed everything that we know how to address up until that point of a decision, whatever the outcome is fine. It's like we did everything we could. There's nothing that I wish I would have done differently or feel like I could have.
Yeah.
If you look at it like, oh, I wish I would have done that different.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one because the entire, other than the county that you're running for commissioner, this is our entire U.S. economy is basically running on AI right now. So if it doesn't come to fruition, we're in some trouble, right? That's why they keep calling it an AI bubble, right? Because if the bubble pops, which it doesn't go well, everybody's gonna have to deal with this. But again, we all hear that, but I don't think anybody has any meat to the stuff. Like, what does that mean? What do we need to do? So there's a good point is that we have to learn and inform ourselves back to what we're talking about, to not be nervous, not to be, scared about the unknown. And it's an interesting thing. Like, again, people are arguing without the information. I'm one of them too. I'm not arguing either way. I don't know. I just know the bare bones.
But knowing that you don't know,
Yes.
you know what I mean? To where you're like, I don't have an opinion that I want to really stand on. It's like if you had something that you're like, no, I believe this, then you'll follow that. So I think our job is just people within the country is like inform ourselves as much as we possibly can, and then argue.
Well, yeah, and
know?
also it is coming. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's something that our administration and rather it's this one or the next one. I think that we're all in on AI. Period for a country, right? So we're gonna have to figure this out.
Well, and it is every aspect of it too. So I work in the schools. I work in a middle school, and you even see it there. Like every day, we're getting emails saying, "How can you use AI? What are we looking for in AI? How can we help kids appropriately use AI?" So it's, I mean, middle schoolers. It's something that is in there. I'm sure. I'm not at the elementaries, but I'm sure that they're getting the same emails that we're getting. How can we use this as a productive tool rather than a distraction from our education?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'm assuming most of the people are worried about data centers being places, right? Do you think that's a thing that you could see, Portsmouth, Ohio, or anywhere around there having a data center? Because I don't even know.
It's coming into Franklin Furnace.
It is, okay, because that's the thing. I don't even know. That's how little I know. I know that everybody's worried about it, but is it coming to every
It's
city?
happening.
Yeah, like,
So then it's like, okay, we're gonna have a housing problem. So it's like there's land agricultural use that's gonna be an issue.
takes a lot of water to cool these places.
Yeah, that
So
was
it's like your
what I was
natural resources. It's like your power grid. Like these are major issues. And it's like if this multi-billion-dollar company is going to come in and establish a resource here, then it's like, well, help provide for the community. Like don't put that cost on everybody else. And if you're the least bit lazy in dealing with those negotiations or least bit uninformed, you are going to miss something. Like, they won't. It's like they are building a data center to collect data, so that way they are the most informed they could possibly be. So it's like you either get in front of it or get out of the way, and that's the danger that I think that we face by being misinformed about something or lack of information.
So is that something that that you say Franklin?
Franklin Furnace, yeah.
Is that something that they voted on, or is that something that it's just coming?
So it came to the county commissioners,
Yeah.
and they're the people that negotiated with the company that's bringing this data center in. So,
Yeah.
you know, the people were like, you know, this should definitely be something where you get a vote.
Yeah. But see, that's important. Important meaning that's going to be your job, right? So that's one of the decisions that you make, and that's why it's important that people are choosing the right commissioner, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
didn't, and then now your voice is not being heard, then that's a problem.
Well,
So
the thing about that is that people forget public office. You are a representative of your people.
yeah,
You are not like the guy. You know, essentially you're the last link that makes that decision on a board of 3, but you are a representative for that entire county of people. So it's like, well, what's my best interest? That looks a lot different than what's some person out in the middle of where this data center is going's best interest. Doesn't affect me. Sure as heck affects them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it's like I need to be thinking about that as much as I am myself, as much as I am every walk of life that I can put through my head. You know, down to the kids 10 years from now. You know what I mean? What are we doing for them? You know, it's like we had the A plant in Piketon. Back then, it's like that's a lot of jobs, that's opportunity, it's a way for people to stay home. It's like, okay, 50 years later, that's a lot of cancer. You know, so I'm like,
Yeah.
was it, you know, is there a trade off there that makes it worth it or not?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like with all that comes the Medicaid and the lawsuits, and you know, it's a whole infrastructure or a sub infrastructure built on something. You know, so it's like, okay, AI. It hasn't been around long enough that we even know what the total infrastructure is. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what's going to come of that? I don't know. Like, you got to just keep up with it the whole time.
Yeah.
Be fluid, be ready to change, you know, adapt, or get left behind.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
No, well, and I guess, you know, going back to the walks of life that you're going to see and how it's affecting people, you do, like, I would think that if I was in a political seat, that not necessarily playing parent, but you've been put there, and your community's telling you both sides,
Yeah.
and it's trying to bridge some kind of gap between the two sides to give them what's best for them. And you know, today we live in a very political divide, and it's easy to lean one way or another. And trying to find common ground seems to be the hardest thing. Is that something that you worry about as far as, like, you know, trying to bring sides together? Because community should be everybody. We can have differing opinions, but we can be, you know, we can all live cohesively. And that's something I'm looking for in my politicians, is somebody who wants to bring us together, not push us apart.
Yeah.
Is that something? I think it's something all politicians say they want to do. And I'm sure
Yeah,
it's something
yeah,
you
yeah,
want to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
But, like, how do you feel like you can bring people together on issues, even like this, where you have somebody who says, "I don't want this thing in here," and then other people are saying, "We really kind of need to embrace it."
I think so. That's a really complicated subject, and I think the mistake a lot of politicians make is they try to answer that. You know, and, yeah. I'm like, I don't know that there's a real answer to that. My experience with that comes from the gym. So it's like you have all these people from all these different walks of life, and they walk in, and by a rule of paper, it's like these people will never interact with one another in day-to-day life. Somehow, this joint pursuit or this joint experience brings everybody together to where they're all moving towards a singular purpose, and they're doing it by building each other up. You know, it's like the culture within our gym is help people. You
Yeah.
know, it's like you don't criticize, you don't burn them down. It's like you build them up. Like, now say we do a roll and you beat them, and they're like, man, that sucked. And it's like, well, okay, you could have done this different, you could have done this better, try this instead. Here's positive action that we could do. So it's more of a mentality that you're building as opposed to a direct line of actions, if that makes sense. So I think the biggest shift that you'll find from a political standpoint is trying to build a different mentality around something. Now, that's a complex issue to try to figure out because it does touch people's lives. It affects everybody in a very substantial way. So, what's best for them isn't always what's best for them. And trying to figure out how to get everyone, you got to figure out what that goal is that everyone's trying to move towards. So I think that's step one. So then once that goal's identified, start building your steps. I think our area is notoriously a negative mindset generally. I think you have a group of very hopeful people that are trying to get out and do as much as they can within the community and make as big of a difference as they can. But generally, people are like, oh, you can't do that. Well, that won't work. That's wrong. I'd do this instead. And I'm like, oh, it's the wrong mentality. I'm like, what can you do right now to be a better version of you? Let's start there. And then what can you do right now to help someone else? And then that turns into 2 and turns into 10, turns into 100. And then it starts really impacting the community as a whole. But it starts at the center of every person. So I think you build whatever that is inside a person, and it will change the entire community. So I think that's, and like I said, that's a complex issue. Like, I don't know how to solve that yet. And if I don't get the seat, then it's like, that's not a problem I have to solve. But
Right.
that if I do, that is where I think a lot of my focus will go towards, outside of the day-to-day stuff. The day-to-day work of it is a baseline to me. So I'm like, I don't really consider it like, go to work, do everything you need to do. Baseline. What else can I do? It's
Right.
like, what is more? That's where I think change happens. And if you're doing baseline, that's just maintenance. It's like, I'm not doing anything to get better. I'm just trying not to get worse.
Yeah.
I do think most communities actually have that. They just want to get better. Because I notice, I'm in West Virginia. It's mostly Republican state, the big elections, right? But locally, there's a lot of Democratic. So the point is, I don't think they really care. Like, meaning, like, it's just who's going to do the best for the job. And that, I wish it was all like that, right? Like, you just didn't vote on party lines. Most jiu-jitsu people are pretty indifferent politics, right? I mean, I'm sure we all know some people on the extreme, but it's funny. Like,
Rarely.
Exactly. Most people come in and nobody watches sports and jiu-jitsu. It's like, everybody watches the game? Nope. Yeah. Anybody care about this? Nope. So it's like we're kind of an anomaly in a weird way, because I think it goes back to actions really matter for all of us, right? It's like,
Say whatever you want.
yeah, I just want to see the result, and I want people that are driving to that. So I think that actually that is a good answer to the question, is that I think if people are too worried about which side of the aisle they're on, that's what they worry about, and then not the results, right? And I think locally, people don't tend to do that as much. This is what I've seen,
Especially locally.
Yeah.
I would say people are definitely more fluid as whether they're voting Republican, Democrat. They just want to see somebody who's going to get stuff done. And the nice thing about locally is that it's usually a little quicker that you see it in your community, the changes that somebody can make, and that's the nice thing. So when you're talking about mayors or county seats, those things usually have a little more impact sooner because it's closer. Anything that we can kind of touch,
Yeah.
you're a little closer to it. It's a little easier to see the change in it. Going back to the did you see the game or whatever? Yeah, it really is like
Last night, right? We all went to eat, and they're like, "You here to see the game?" And we're like, "What
game?"
All the whole
I
table.
had forgotten. I had forgotten that it was even March Madness and all of that stuff. But it is like
That's my favorite thing about jiu-jitsu, or you know what I mean, like the martial arts. Like, I've never been a traditional sports person, so it's like, hey, did you watch that? No,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
like, what's that season?
Yeah, we're just out in an island, right? Yeah. Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
oh no. I don't even know where I was going with it after I started talking.
Well, do you have, I guess, I mean, we went through, background. We know what got you there. You've got the discipline. Obviously, true need to help the community, which most anybody that started a gym for the right reason, and your whole life has been service and helping. I guess what is, to kind of, I wouldn't even say wrap this up, but what is your best pitch that you want people to know that are going to get them out, in your favor, I guess?
I don't know that I've figured that out just yet.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I know that I can control what I can do and who I am, and I can communicate that to people, but ultimately what they do is on them. Now, will I ask them to go out and vote for the best person they think will do the job correctly? Yes. Will I go pick them up if they want me to pick them up and take them to vote? Yeah. Call me, text me, message me, whatever. Like, I will go get everybody to go vote, but notoriously everyone will talk about that change. Well, I want to see this, I want to see this. It's like, okay, on May 5th, you have that opportunity. That's day one, that's step one.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. Going back to, sorry to cut you, but it's so presidential elections record numbers. Locally, where it actually matters, I would say almost record numbers the bottom way, right?
Yeah,
Like people just don't.
They don't go out and
They
vote.
don't. Yeah, they just didn't go out at all.
If you want to be heard, go vote. That's a way that you get to voice your opinion, and voice your belief system or whatever in a meaningful way. Everyone has an opinion, but that opinion's not worth a whole lot all the time. It's like, if you want it to mean something, go put it on the ballot. So that's all I can say to everybody. Other than that, it's like, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what I would like to do. Give me that chance to do that. And whatever happens, happens.
It's big. This is the one that people can make a difference. Like, in just this room, our gym, your gym, any gym, like that amount of people can make the difference if they go vote, right? And that's, again, what people don't really understand. I don't know where the disconnect is, because I feel like, not to get crazy on that stuff, I think a lot of people think the president does more than they do. They do a lot, of course, right? But most of your stuff's local level. That's the part that matters. It's the part that you can actually change.
And I'm like, even as the county commissioner, it's like, it's the same idea. It's like, well, I can talk to all these people, but I'm not the guy that goes out and fixes the road. Give me the truck and give me the shovel, I'll go fix the road. You know what I mean? But that's the difference. Those other guys don't want to do that. I know they won't.
Yeah. No,
it's
that's
like,
a big deal.
Yeah, I'm like, if you give me the tools, I'll go do the job.
Yeah.
That's what the difference is, to me. But that's, yeah.
I watched this documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw it, about a Canadian politician. You ring
I
a
haven't
bell.
seen this one.
But anyway, that's one of the ways he won whatever he won. I think he might have been a mayor of Toronto. Let me preface this by he got fired for smoking crack. But yeah,
I know that one. Yes.
yeah, so that's not all roses. But the point is, he got in because he literally gave everybody his card and said, if you need something, you call me. So people would call him, like a tree fell in my backyard. He would show up and help them. Or he would say, the guy that can't move that, but you call this person, they'll take care of your tree. And like, people loved the guy. Later, he smoked some crack and things went went downhill. But I did like the beginning part. So,
Initially, he was doing all the right things.
yeah, it's very interesting. But no, I think that's awesome. I think, I don't think there's any other message. Like you said, it's basically because you're an action person, so it's kind of hard. I don't think that's in you of telling people, hey, I'm going to do this and do this and do, like, because you don't know until you're there, right? I think that's another.
Like, if I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And if I can't, then I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know that I can do that. I'll find out. If I can't, I'll tell you. If I can, then I'll do it.
And that's honest, though. I like that.
Honesty, integrity, like it, and that a lot of times, like, it goes back to what I think a lot of politicians are missing, is the accountability and holding yourself accountable. We get that from martial arts,
Every day. Every day.
And so the accountability, the honesty, the integrity, those are the things that I want in my politicians. Maybe not so much crack smoking, but definitely the integrity.
It's definitely good to add in, though.
If you want a good story to run on Netflix, maybe think about crack.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're done with the politician stuff.
But nonetheless, there will be no crack smoking, and I think we'll have some good change. Throw that in there. But anything else that you would like to end with? Because I think that's actually a really good message. I think, and then I think we all want to go train and beat each other up in a good way, in a nice way. So.
No, if there's any other questions that we want to cover, but other than that, I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sitting down with us, talking for a little bit, and I'm excited to go get beat up. So,
Yeah.
all right, I appreciate you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate it.